new premier partner, Snickerdoodle. They're putting 1 million DGen into supporting Farcaster's growth where your voice matters. Take their surveys, earn DGen, and help build the future of this platform. It's simple. Head to Snickerdoodle's Share to Earn channel, find and take the surveys, share them, and claim your rewards. Let's help shape this space together. And welcome Snickerdoodle to the GM Farcaster family. GM Farcaster. It is Monday, September 16th, and you are here with Nownish Prop and Adrian for 29 minutes of Farcaster news-ish, plus because we have a guest. So, you know, we're definitely going to go a little over. But we're excited to have Jared. He's going to be up here chatting about the advocacy channel in just a little bit. And Adrian, how are you? Did you recover from our craziness?
I want to say yes.
I want to say yes.
I want to say yes because
really
because I didn't do much this weekend and I took a lot of naps, but I don't know if I am.
I want to say yes, but I don't think I can at the moment.
I'm close. I'm close. It was so good.
It was so good. So we have some news that we got to get into. We got a few things to chat about. And I just had to highlight this from Kyle Patrick. He's back doing his daily polls. And today was, who's your favorite person on Warpcast? And I wrote you. So There you go. You got a little Adrian in the word cloud. So
and I miss this because I would have also said me.
I mean, obviously.
Self-love and all. You know, it's just
self-love and all the things. This from Dan. We've done over 22,000 on-chain account recoveries since the system launched last year. These are people who lost seed phrases, but because of Farcaster's on-chain recovery system, were able to regain control of their FID in an address they control. So that's pretty cool. I'm not sure exactly. There were some questions about how long does it take, but that is very cool that you can recover your account. And this could happen in so many ways where you might lose access to your account, either your wallet gets hacked or something like that. But good to see that we can get those back.
That's 22,000 people who didn't write their seed phrase down and
Clearly.
put it in a lockbox like
Clearly.
they were told to.
I know, which is like, why consumer crypto is taking so long.
Why we can't have nice things.
This is why we can't have nice things. This is also from Dan. What stats or information about your channel do you wish existed within Warpcast? Also, if you're building a more advanced channel stats info tool for channel owners, please reply with a link. And there were a couple links that were in there that were interesting. Farcaster Studio, and I think it was Cast Sense was another one. So is there anything that you can think of, Adrian, that you would like to see for channel stats? Nothing immediately came to mind for me.
No, channels just feel so much in flux right now. So It's a little bit like figure out what they are, then I can tell you what's important.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. This just dropped this morning. So we wanted to shout this out from Chris Corella, Scout Game. And honestly, don't fully know what it is. But you can join the waitlist on the frame. I casted it as well, but from Colin from Kojo, Scout Game feels like Moxie.eth, but specifically for open source developers. Commit code to open source repos, earn points. Anyone can then speculate on those devs, giving them visibility and patronage. So not fully sure what exactly he has cooking, but Chris is dropping a blog post later today with more details. Do you want to add anything to that I maybe that I don't?
I definitely don't know more than you, but the analogy I think I heard it. What?
I was really hoping you did because I know nothing.
No, but well, I can pretend. But the analogy I think is like fantasy sports, but for open source developers. And
okay.
I think it's like, so open source developers are doing God's work. We appreciate you. Like literally people doing dev work for as a public good. And if you're a fan of open source, I think it's a way to kind of elevate the devs as celebs.
Okay.
Maybe bring them on. Guess what? Maybe do some gamified crypto betting and like tokenization. I actually don't know.
Ivy just said.
I don't know.
Ivy just said in the chat, the casino continues. It's points all the way down. Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally, Ivy.
Yeah. We don't. So
but for
we'll
open source dev, but for things we like.
It's interesting.
So
Yeah, it's interesting.
like
We'll see how this
fantasy for
plays out.
nerds.
Fantasy for nerds. Yeah, I'm in. I'm up for it. I'm going to know more about that than I do various sports. So, speaking of cool things happening in the world, I don't know I couldn't figure out a good transition here. Farcon Asia happening this week. I'm getting some FOMO. I'm getting FOMO for some things and other things not so much. And I don't think I pulled it, but the video with the guy singing karaoke on the plane made me go, I'm good. I'm good. And also the Solana house with like just running around throughout the whole house.
It was hilarious.
But
I saw I don't know. I see some of those and I was like, oh, I think I'd like to be on that plane for like a minute.
for like a minute.
Just
and then put my headphones on and my sleep mask and you do you. But at least they were singing Taylor Swift. So, for whatever that's worth. But this is going to be pretty amazing. This from ELX Lee. 2 more days to go. Let's talk about building the creator economy with Jack, Gracie, Uxlo, Cybershakti, and Gregarious. Gregarious from Snickerdoodle will be chatting there, talking about building the creator economy. Pretty fun. I think this is going to be amazing. I do wish I was going to be there for Farcon Asia because I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And it looks like the fun has already started. So the energy is out of the world. So that's pretty cool. Good to see everybody already getting together and it's getting rolling today. Farcaster events in Singapore, September 16th, Farhack, Kampug kickoff, Farcon Asia welcome party, and then tomorrow Farcon Asia from 9 to 7, which tomorrow is kind of today, so I don't know when that starts. I have no idea. It's hard to track these things with time zones. And then there's also a Farhack going on. So this from Dillstack. Join us next week which is this week, Farhack Kampung kickoff. 9/16, we'll have a virtual AMA with DWR as well as talks from Dabbit3 and myself. And then the hackathon will commence and go through the 18th. Thanks so much for sponsors, attendees, and guests. We can't wait. So this is going to be really cool. And it is good to see. No, Dan will not be there in person. He's not getting on that plane. He's not staying at that villa. There's no way that's happening. But it's good that he's like zooming in to say hello and give some context to the hackathon participants. So this is pretty cool. Good to see. So this is
do you know a lot about the villa?
2. I don't know anything about this stupid villa, but I found the video. So, and I didn't show it. You can go look it up. It's everywhere. The Solana, there's just this woman running through this giant, beautiful house, showing off this villa. And I guess there's 10 of them that are going to live there. And it's like a reality show. Yeah. And I found it both disturbing and intriguing at the same time. So, in other words, I would watch.
There's no Farcaster doesn't have content like that. Let's just say.
No.
And leave it there.
And we'll dig into that a little bit more in a minute. This from Dan I thought was interesting. What are you doing to help small accounts on Farcaster? We have a lot more work to do, but here's what we've done in the last few months to improve. Moved initial feeds away from a follower-based model to algorithmic and interest-based model. In other words, auto-follow went away. A daily set of boosted accounts with less than 10K followers. I think that's been super helpful to get more attention on smaller accounts. USDC rewards normalized by followers. In other words, if you had fewer followers, you kind of got like it was divided by your engagement was divided by your number of followers to make it a little more fair. A bunch of experiments and tweaks to improve the home feed to show interesting casts from people you don't follow yet, and more to come. So I think some of these experiments have been really good. And I think I know I've definitely seen some elevation of interesting content that I find interesting, at least.
Yeah. I mean, I like the boosts. I like the fourth one because I am seeing like people who I don't follow pop up in my feed. And I have added a few followers because of that. Followings. I'm following more people because I'm seeing
same
content. So I'm happy with it.
Same. I definitely have found some new people to follow. I do think the algorithm is doing some funky things where there's some people I'm just not seeing and I have to go seek them out. And I've had to do this a few times so that I used to see all the time. And there's a little bit of like having to manipulate things to get it where I want it to be, but we're getting there.
Oh, do you want to reverse algorithm? I mean, do you want to reverse chronological feed? You can go to
I think there's
Supercast.
another client for that.
Yeah.
I think there's another
I'm not
client.
sure if
It's called
anyone's asked for it.
Supercast.
I'm not sure if anyone's asked for it. I think if you just asked Dan for it, he would give it to you.
Sure, I'm sure. I'll just go on and ask for it. I'm sure that'll go well. This from me. Due to popular demand, we reopened our GM Farcaster birthday mint, and it is open until tomorrow. Do have a little merch shop coming. I am like this close to launching it. I've been working on it over the past 24 hours, pretty much nonstop, and I'm super excited. But this NFT also had another bonus over this weekend. So this was a very organic little collab that kind of happened out of the blue, and Adrian didn't even know what was going on. So it's kind of like I just gave Burberry some degen and said, "Hey, I love what you're doing. Go add this to your prize pool." And she just blew up all our feed with sharing our mint, and that was amazing. And it was really fun. I finally got into one of her tournaments, so I'm in the Burberry Poker Club now, and I had a chance to play. A lot of fun. Didn't play well, but it was a lot of fun to play, and I'm glad that everyone had a good time. So this was pretty fun. Got to play with Sparks, so I was excited. Amber.
That's super cool. I did see her announce it, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool! Like permissionless collab." But maybe you guys were talking.
We were talking.
Maybe she.
Well, it was kind of permissionless because all I did was say, here's some degen to add to your prize pool. Like it wasn't like we set up and had a conversation about, I'll give you this, you give me that. It was nothing like that. It was like, I love what you're doing. Here's some fun, here's some tokens to put towards your prize pools. And then she kind of like set up her own incentives and promotion of us. So that was really cool. So thank you. And it's been amazing. Like we definitely had a bunch of mints that came in from it, and honestly love what she's doing in terms of bringing people together around poker. So if you like poker, even if you have never played poker, this is a very low stakes way to try to learn because you don't have to put anything in. A lot of fun. Definitely recommend. So.
And there's beginners, so there are kind of beginner entry points. So safe to fail.
Absolutely. Safe to fail. Yeah. Safe to fail. So highly recommend. Go check it out. A lot of fun. This was from Snickerdoodle. We had a great chat with them on Friday, introducing the State of Farcaster report. It's been a big topic of discussion. They dropped a new frame. I am not logged in, so I think that's why I can't click through the frame. But it's really cool. You can see sort of the high level overview and then dive into the full PDF to get the full report. I still have more to dive into. I'm only kind of scratched the surface, but I loved having that conversation. So if you missed it, go check out our YouTube and find the birthday playlist, and you'll see it within that playlist. That's the easiest place to find it. And it was a really great combo. So this has been interesting to see everybody kind of chatting about it. Also, one other thing from Friday that I have to shout out. We have GM Farcaster mug at home. Sure am glad there's a merch shop launching soon. This is one for the books. Happy first birthday to GM Farcaster. Nanish, Raf, and Adrian, or something else. Thank you for 24 hours of fun and cheers to a year. This was so funny. So for those who missed it, Miriam showed up on our stream for the trivia with her own GM Farcaster mug because she didn't get one of these at FarCon. So it was absolutely hilarious. And I really appreciate her doing that because it made my day. But we do have, like, this one is going to be in our little shop. It's almost ready. So
it's a
Miriam,
permissionless brand, so anyone
it's a permissionless brand. Make your own mugs. We love it. Absolutely love it. Permissionless brand. There you go. Oh, love it. Love
but
it,
also,
love it.
we'll try to get you a merch shop.
We will.
We
will. We're getting you a merch shop. I promise. It's coming. It's coming probably tomorrow. This was great to see from Arjan. Just wanted to shout it out. He made us a little some art and some poetry, and I just love it. So thank you, Arjan. Moving on. So interesting content. We're going to talk about interesting content, but before we do, I'm actually going to talk about interesting content that's on the timeline. This is from Robin. Please go read this. It's a long thread about his journey last week, where he was very ill, but he was also at CB Ventures and he was hanging out with Brian Armstrong. And also in the middle of this, I realize as I'm reading this, I'm like, wait a minute. In the middle of all this craziness, he pops onto our stream to say happy anniversary to us on Friday and talk about MushyCam as part of Base Builders section. But so I'm shocked still that happened as part of this. When you read this, it's crazy. So Robin, thank you. We love you too, but also take care of yourself, please.
Please take care of yourself. Is he feeling better?
He is feeling better. Yes, he had a little food poisoning, and he is better now. Love this from Naomi. I want to be the first athlete to document their journey to the Olympic Games on chain. I love chatting with late night on Base. I'll post the link to the full podcast below when it's out. So this is really cool. She's been, putting so much on chain from her workouts, and she's posting things within Farcaster, and it's just really been so impressive. So love what you're doing, Naomi. Please keep going, and excited to see where you end up.
And stop by and say hi to us. We'll come.
Yeah, sometime we got to get her on here sometime. Yeah, for sure. I'd love to chat with her. Okay, we're going to shift gears to talk about the biggest thing happening on Farcaster right now. And it's not the election. We're getting to that. We're getting to you, Jared, right after this. We're gonna run through this in 5 minutes, and then we're gonna jump to Jared and chat about the actual things happening in the world. This kind of launched a big discussion. So this was from Almac. Farcaster new FID register is now less than 500 per day. What are we doing wrong? Well, people had thoughts about this. And Dan had a thought about this. Not enough interesting content. So this sparked a lot of discussion. It launched a lot of memes. There's a lot going on. So this was from Ted, my 2 cents and in good faith interpretation of not enough interesting content. DWR does not mean that the current users aren't interesting enough. DWR does mean there are not enough of us, that the supply of interesting content on Warpcast simply cannot compete with the supply on other platforms. That's definitely one take. Then we also have lack of interesting content is part of the issue, but I don't think it's the biggest cause for the decline in DAU. Warpcast is not friendly to new users. How a lot of them end up in the see more replies section on their first day. Ultimately, I don't come here for the content. I come here for the people. And Six had a take on that. Imagine paying $5. This is from Garrett. Imagine paying $5 to onboard and then getting marked as spam. I'd probably never come back. Oh, when you put it like that, that's tough. So there's a lot of this, and then I'll just stop here so we can chat. This is not enough interesting content. Stated preference versus real present doesn't impact. Build your own client and the cycle. So the cycle of not interesting content continues on. Oh, one more thing from Garrett. This app doesn't attract sane people. No successful app ever makes that their primary metric. Thank you, Cassie, for that. LOL. There's a lot, and I'm going to put the rest of the links that relate to this in the show notes. So just really quick, what is your, I think Ted kind of summarized it perfectly. I don't think Dan is sitting around going, you're not interesting. You're just not interesting. He's saying there aren't enough interesting people.
And if you actually look at in Dan's reply to Ted's cast, he said, like, one way to model my tweets is imagine I'm like trying to put my kids to bed or something, and there's a lot going on, and he's not thinking of he's not thinking before he casts, in other words, or he's
it wasn't intentionally mean. Like if you think it's a mean cast, it's not on purpose. Yeah. I agree.
I had my first reaction was the same as well, was it's not that there's not interesting content. There's not enough to draw away the masses from these other platforms when, like, what is, and I I can't even believe we're talking about this. It feels to
I know.
me, Dan's been saying this for months, weeks,
I
months.
know.
I mean, why this weekend did it cause a whole kerfuffle? Because this isn't new.
Maybe because there wasn't enough interesting content to take away
That
from.
we
This was
created.
the interesting content. I don't know. It really, yeah. I kind of, it was funny to me that this is when it kind of popped up and blew up. Um, so yeah. So and then Tony had a similar thing. Like it's not about, stop beating yourselves up. It's not about us. It's about there's just not enough. Um, Also, he did say that GM Farcaster is interesting. So
We're so
GM
interesting.
Farcaster, you are interesting. So
We're
I
so
think that's
interesting.
important.
I mean, listen, my biggest hot take on all this is this. It doesn't fucking matter what Dan thinks of anything because it's like I somehow it just like it struck a nerve, right? Because listen,
Yeah.
it would be nice for Dan to come and say, "Hey everyone, I really appreciate you spending time here because we're growing this together and we're casting and that would make us feel good." But he didn't and he's not and he doesn't say things like that, but it doesn't matter. And my my feeling is this, if you're not happy with Dan, there's kind of two things we can do. And one is go use another platform where you are happy with the leadership. And by the way, if you know who that is, I'd love to know. Like, tell me who else is doing a good job
Tell me who's
because
not, who else is not problematic?
tell me. But maybe there is. Maybe another platform is doing a better job. So go but or number two, just stay here and make Farcaster so big and good that we can actually move to another client and really stick it to Dan and leave Warpcast. I mean, that's the
So
best. Is that the best
we'll just take
revenge
the
ever?
best
Like,
content over to a whole other client. There you go.
well, the content's everywhere. You can't take
Yeah,
it away, but like, you don't have to give
exactly.
Warpcaster eyeballs. Like, if you're unhappy with Dan, just do like make Warpcast successful or something. I don't know.
I will still be here. We'll be as uninteresting as we normally are. And if you find that interesting, then, please join us. All right, we're going to shift gears. We have Jared here from the Advocacy channel, and I want to start by just kind of reading this, and then we're going to bring him up. TLDR for Advocacy. Advocacy is a Warpcast native nonprofit working to drive civic engagement around on-chain technology in the U.S. through education, outreach, and grassroots advocacy. Our roadmap: electoral advocacy and GOTV, that's get out the vote, increase voter registration and turnout by helping people understand how and why to vote, research and polling, use real data to inform strategies in the on-chain space, storytelling and advocacy training, equipped our community with tools to advocate through storytelling, messaging guides, and understanding legislative processes, town halls and education events, organize discussions on legislation and on-chain tech benefits. I love that. Behind the group is Clint. Oh, I'm going to butcher this name. Clint Lil's Houses Squares, SSJ2, Oliver Susan, and Java Boo, who we're going to talk to right now. Financial sponsorship. We are fiscally sponsored by Endowment, which is an incredible organization, allowing advocacy to focus on its mission while still being able to accept tax-deductible donations as a 501c3 profit. Link coming soon. So we're going to welcome Jared to the stage here. I'm going to just pop this down real quick so we can see your name. Welcome, and tell us all about like what you're building here with advocacy. This is really exciting. What sort of brought you to launch this channel, and tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah, so thank you so much for allowing me to join, and for the late start. Being on the Pacific Coast is hard sometimes, especially when you usually
you were
start
ready to get up.
5:30.
He was ready to get up at 5:30. Like as he's like, hey, can I get the link? Because I want to make sure I have it ready to go for early morning. And then I realized because it's going to be really early for me. And I'm like, wait. Are you on the West Coast? We can change the time. Like, we don't want to get you up at 5:30 in the morning. So
Yeah,
happy to do
I
it.
really
Happy to do it.
appreciate it. So I have been working in grassroots advocacy for the past decade, really focused on kind of child advocacy. I worked in state government and then have been working for a national nonprofit doing kind of federal legislation, working advocacy. And kind of within this space, we have some amazing kind of political advocacy groups, mostly C4s. So I see that you are wearing the kind of Stand with
My shield.
Crypto hat.
Yeah.
So they are doing really amazing work of donating to elected officials. They have that bus tour that's going around. But with them being a C4, it is just kind of a different mechanism than being a C3.
Do you want to
So
explain really quick the difference between a C4 and a C3 for those who may not know?
yeah, so a C3 nonprofit can do advocacy work, but we can also collect tax deductible donations. So if you would like to further the on-chain cause and then also kind of do a tax deductible donation from all of your gains from Degen this past year or Moxie or anything else, this is a opportunity to do that. So what we are really focused on doing is kind of building a grassroots movement supporting on-chain technology, kind of solely focused in Warpcast. So we are going to be doing something starting tomorrow is National Voter Registration Day. So we are going to be launching a soulbound NFT that we had Cartoon Sadish created for us, but really asking people to pledge to vote. And then kind of if you get that NFT and you download or you claim it tomorrow, then we'll be sending some follow-up information to kind of remind you to vote in November. But I think largely kind of our focus is to train a grassroots kind of movement of individuals that are on this platform that know how to talk to their elected officials, know how to talk to other members in the community. So if you're talking to your grandparents or your aunts or just your neighbors and they're asking you about crypto, you're equipped with kind of the storytelling messages, other kind of ways to communicate why they should care about this as well. And then also just kind of growing something a little bit more organically than what we're seeing with C4s. So we're asking people to get involved. A lot of kind of, as you can see with the NFT that we're releasing, we're really going to be engaged in the community to kind of uplift the power that we already have.
Amazing. And I think the other thing to keep in mind is that there are a number of bills currently going through Congress, and there will be more, I'm sure, coming along the way in the next congressional session. So at the more local level or closer to home, I should say, is just as important. And there may even be things at your state level that you can have an impact on. So it's not all about the nationwide elections, but also thinking about sort of closer to home where you can probably have even a greater impact, especially around education and things like that, when your rep hears from you and hears from their own constituents. It usually hits a lot harder than from a group as a whole. So that can be really powerful. And I think when you provide people with the language that they need to reach out via emails or to make a phone call, it's super helpful. And the easier you can make it, the better. I know that's something that Stand with Crypto did do really well, was like set up things that you could just like shoot them out. So, I'd love to see that in a frame somehow. I don't know how, but that would be amazing. If we could build a frame that's just like click, click, add your information, and it goes to your appropriate congressional member, would be amazing.
Yeah, and I think kind of to that point, one of the things that we'll be speaking of is kind of the importance of voting down ballot. I think there's a lot of discussions on who is better for crypto, is it Kamala or is it Trump, and kind of who's going to further that space. But when we look at what legislation will actually pass, it will need the support of Congress. So even before whoever's president is going to even have the opportunity to sign that piece of legislation, you need to have all of the members or a majority of members supporting it. And they're not going to know it's a priority unless we actually tell them that this is a priority that we have and something that we consider when we're voting. And one of the great ways that we can do that is if you are having people come to your door and they're asking you for your vote, like even if it's not the actual elected official, but asking them, what do you think about crypto? What do you think about on-chain technology? And I bet most of the people that come to your door will have no idea what you're talking about, but just kind of telling them that that's something they care about, they'll then go back, put that in their notes, and then they'll go up to that elected official and say, 20 people that I talked to today asked me about on-chain technology, and I didn't have an answer.
Great point.
Give me talking points the next time.
That's a really good point. I also, and even at the more like state level too, if you look at there's been some huge moves within certain states, and I think they come from surprising places like Wyoming. A lot of what Wyoming's been doing around DAOs and around different crypto legislation has happened at a very local level. And so and that's then had an impact nationwide. So you can have a big impact at a very small level that can then expand and sort of network out and become important, in a much larger scope. So I think it's important to not just think about what's happening at the national level for sure. Adrian, do you have any questions or any comments on all of this fun stuff?
And by the way, I just asked in the chat if anyone else also has questions, shoot them out. And I have no questions prepared. Jared, what you said you kind of said this was like Warpcast specific. Curious just why. By the way, we love Farcaster, so
we love that.
We're
we
all
love
for
that.
it, but I'm just kind of
what was your thinking
curious
behind
about
it?
what the thing what's behind that.
Yeah, I think Warpcast, Farcaster, in my mind, this might be not perfect, but they kind of mean the same thing to me still. But really kind of what has been built so far and kind of the focus on having kind of supporters of crypto and on-chain, they're all here. So kind of all of the group behind this movement really just saw this as an opportunity of low hanging fruit. People are here, people are active, we're already talking about this. So instead of trying to break through the noise of kind of creating a standalone website or kind of trying to build out on Twitter, there's an opportunity to really focus on individuals who already care about the space and just equipping them with the tools that they need to kind of take one more step of, I know how to call my elected official. I know what I'm going to tell them about. This is how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to actually take that action. So that's really why we had that focus, is everyone's here, or a lot of people are here, and we can kind of grow with the network as it continues to build out.
Can you talk a little bit about the connection with Endowment and who Endowment is? And for those who may not know, great organization. And we met a couple folks from Endowment at Basecamp as well. So I know they've been actively building some things.
Yeah, so Endowment is our, right now they are providing advocacy with the advocacy channel with, they're our fiscal sponsor. So as we're actually working to maintain and receive our 501c3 status, they are providing that kind of oversight of our organization. So they're allowing us to receive those tax deductible donations, but they are an amazing organization. They're really focused on supporting nonprofits to move into this on-chain space. So we kind of saw it as a natural fit of, we're kind of working together. We're trying to make it easier to kind of facilitate crypto donations, but also just make it easier to be a crypto supporter. So we've been in conversations with them over the past 6 months and just signed the fiscal sponsorship. I think it was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
Amazing.
This is necessarily US based.
Yes, yep. We are solely based in the United States and will only be kind of supporting or working on kind of building the advocacy movement here.
Which makes sense.
Wherever you are, you should, if you can register to vote wherever you are, you should. Naomi just said she can't vote, and
but wherever you are, the same kind of there can be the same kind of efforts happening wherever you are located, for sure. And I think that's going to be important because there is such a global impact here. But we already have seeing that what happens in the U.S. impacts worldwide anyway. in terms of crypto regulation or enforcement. So we do need to keep that in mind as well. Wish that wasn't the case, but it is. Unfortunately, right now, when Gary sues people, it impacts everybody. So hopefully we can get that changed around. What is happening this week? If you can talk a little bit about what you're launching and where people can find that information.
Yeah, so this week is, well, tomorrow is National Voter Registration Day. So as part of our kind of kickoff for the advocacy channel this week, we're going to be launching an NFT asking people to pledge to vote. It seems like a really simple action to take, just to kind of pledge to do something in the future. But research actually shows that if you promise yourself that you're going to do something later, you actually tend to do it more often than not. So we are going to be asking people to both, one, register to vote if you're not registered. There's tons of resources online to do so. But second, to take that kind of stand and pledge that you are going to vote. As a 501c3 organization, we cannot endorse any candidates. So there's lots of kind of other groups online that have shown who is supportive and not supportive of crypto. You can do your research of kind of who you'd like to support. But we really just want to see more individuals take that action of, I'm going to mail in my ballot or early, or I'm going to go on November 5th and vote in the election. I'm going to see, kind of planning on who I'm going to vote for, not just the top few candidates, but all the way down the ballot of, this is my state assemblyman who doesn't know much about crypto, but I called him 2 weeks ago and he said that he would look into it a little bit more, and I'm going to vote for him for that reason. So tomorrow we're going to be launching that NFT. It's going to be soulbound, and we're really using that as kind of a way to continue to engage individuals that have minted the NFT. We're going to kind of send them an airdrop. You pledge to vote November 5th. It's time to vote. And we'll be doing some other activities kind of leading up to the election. We're in conversations with the Law and Policy channel to host a conversation on what's going on legislative wise, but really just trying to kind of continue to support the movement that some amazing actors like Stand With Crypto have already done.
I think that's a huge opportunity there to do more education around, what is happening with legislation and, who's sort of leading those charges and where you can find out more information, because I think that's not always easy to locate. I know that that's something I do with my students. That's actually their assignment for this week, is they had to look at a bill that's currently in Congress and sort of dive into it. So, and then there's a discussion around that. So I think that the more of that, the better, because there's just a lot happening that not everyone may be even aware of. And you can have, like I said, you can have an impact. I know, like the FIT 21, it was bipartisan, it passed. It still has to go to the Senate, but there was, a lot of effort around that and educating Congress people about it, because a lot of times it's not that they're against crypto, it's that they have no idea. And I think that's where there's an opportunity from even a grassroots level for sure. So amazing. Anything else, Adrian, before we let Jared go back to bed? Go on with his day.
No, it's fully morning.
That's
now.
right. It's not bad
No,
now.
back to bed. Well, and Jared, I understand you're not endorsing individual candidates, right? But are you able to point people to resources in terms of, is that how to learn about candidates?
Yeah, as a 501c3, we can't endorse, but yeah, there's definitely lots of resources. Like Stand With Crypto has a kind of overview of comments and quotes that elected officials have taken. There's also a great resource, Crypto Polls, which Oliver runs, that also does a kind of overview of what elected officials have supported or taking a stance previously. They also allow you to email your elected officials. So those are two amazing resources. But I will say, I think it's more about education at this time and less about what people have already said. And even if you look and see, oh, my congressman has never done anything, like there's the opportunity to reach out to them and say, what are you going to do if I vote for you? And
yeah.
November's the best time because this is the one time we have the power over the elected officials. They might promise a lot of things. They might not give us everything, but at least put them on record to promise something.
Yeah.
Right. That's a super powerful statement. And Prof, we were talking about kind of high agency people within Farcaster. And I think, right, it's like we tend to forget how early crypto is and it's lack of knowledge, right? Like people just don't know. I mean, there's still, I think, and to be able to look at people in Farcaster and say, you have there's an opportunity for you to kind of educate and and not just look to say, okay, like, let me look at the candidates and assume everything's already kind of, but you can educate and impact your even kind of local politics that way. I think it's a really powerful statement.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's just a lot of opportunity there that we haven't explored yet. And I'm not convinced that, I think there's very few people that are strongly one way or the other. I think there's a lot of people who are just they just don't know enough. And that's kind of my feeling on that from what I've seen. So lots of opportunity to learn more and educate our officials. So exciting. So we'll look for tomorrow for the mint to go out there into the world. Very exciting. And just make sure you're following the advocacy channel for all the things. So thanks so much for popping by. Is there anything we didn't cover that you wanted to shout out?
No, I think that's all. And I really appreciate you all giving us the space to talk about this today.
Yeah, it's been great having you here. I love that you reached out to come on and chat with us about it, and definitely the time of year to do so for sure. So thanks for popping by, and we're going to Adrian. Is there anything else that we needed to wrap up? I think that's it for today.
I think we covered it.
I think we covered it. So with that,
our birthday mint is open. I think until tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yep. And then
I think we're just shy of 1,000.
Just
I
shy.
set a goal to get 1,000. I think we're just shy.
Just about like 800.
Thank you to everyone who minted. Love you.
Just shy. Just shy of 1,000.
We covered the interesting, not enough interesting content drama, and I think
and hopefully you found this interesting. I think crypto advocacy is interesting, so there you go. And with that, everybody, we will see you Wednesday. Wednesday we'll be back at our regular 8:30 a.m. time. And this week we will be on Thursday instead of Friday, also at 8:30 a.m. So we will see you then. And with that, bye-bye, everyone.